Hi everyone. About a month or so ago, I was having one of those days. You know, when you've been putting forth a lot of effort and you're not seeing too many returns and you just feel beaten down. You feel like, why am I working so hard? It's not getting me anywhere. It's all for nothing. And I kept telling myself that story, about what it meant, that maybe there's something wrong with what I'm doing. Maybe people don't like me. Maybe that's why they're not responding. All that self-defeatist garbage that we do to ourselves. The problem is, I spent so much time telling myself that story that I got stuck on it. I had a real hard time getting out of that funk. So I reached out to one of my friends and one of my favorite mentors named Bill. And Bill has this way of spouting fountains of wisdom that help me solve my problems, even though what he's telling me isn't really about my problem. He talks to me about life and the way life works, and just listening to him really just kind of unlocks things in my mind in a way that I was having difficulty doing on my own. And with all the challenges I was having with business relationships not working, people not coming through like they promised. I know this is something you can relate to. And all this effort I was putting into accomplishing my goals, and the goals weren't being realized. I was feeling impatient, which I know we can all get into. And Bill really helped me look again at the rest of my story of life, when I was getting stuck in just this small chunk of time. The small chunk of time when I've been trying so hard and not getting too many results. You know how SPs can be, spectromites in general, kind of missing the big picture? I do that a lot. Bill is really good at opening my lens again so I get a better look at just what the whole picture tells me about my life. My story as a 22-year cancer survivor, for example. I'm an undaunted self-advocate. Not only for myself, for my own children who are on the spectrum, and for you and my other fellow spectromites. The more he helped remind me of the entirety of my story, instead of my fixation on this small span of time, the more I realized that my whole life story has been about falling down. And more importantly, about getting back up. You see, I was getting hard on myself, beating myself up, feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere. I was focusing on the fall. And I was forgetting all those times where I got back up. Then I thought to myself, holy crud. My whole life, my business, my parenting, everything is about getting back up. Getting back up and moving forward. I discussed this realization with them, and we discussed how our lives and the whole of human experience is about falling down and getting back up. Those of us who become the ones others look to for help when they're down are the ones who have become very skilled in the art of getting back up. I've listened over the years to the self-help gurus who don't talk about their falls. They come off as larger-than-life, indestructible success machines. I've learned very little from them because they talk more about being up and being up all the time and being successful. And the difficulty with that is I can't relate to being up all the time when I'm someone who falls some of the time. So it does me little good to know how to be up when I don't know how to get there. Even worse is when you give the impression that falling is failure, when in fact falling is critical. The more falls we have, the more options we have for getting back up, and the more we have to teach others. I recall my dysfunctional bringing, I'm sure you had one of those too, and recall the times I was laughed at every time I fell. My father was very insecure, and he would mockingly say, I saw that every time I made the slightest mistake. And of course, my siblings picked up on this, and they did it too. I'd be laughed at by my peers for tripping, criticized in gym class, even by the teacher. And other students would make fun of me because I was clumsy, I wasn't as athletic as they were. But in each and every case, I got back up. It's difficult to remember that very important part while the focus is always on the fall, because that's what everybody emphasizes. But far too many people focus so much on falling down that they stay down. My funk that month or so ago was due to my putting too much focus on the fall, or what I perceived as a fall, instead of focusing on getting back up, like I'd always done before. So from now on, when someone sees you fall and makes fun of you, and when I feel myself fall, I will meet that experience with the following words: now watch me get back up. Please share your thoughts on this, and please feel free to share it with others. But most importantly, remember that you are here today, not because you're a failure, but because your luck, or whatever story you're telling yourself. You're here today because when all else was against you, and life seemed to be kicking you in the butt harder than it ever has, somehow you either got back up or you are in the process right now of getting back up. You've done it before, you'll do it again, and you're doing it now. And if you need someone to help pick you back up, my guess is they're right around the corner. And if you can't find them, you got one right here. This is Brian. It's great talking to you.